All right. Well, wow. Bunch of people. Welcome all. My name is Matt Williams. I have a channel called Technoevangelist, and I do a daily stream about the news that's interesting that's crossed my desk, my news feeds. And so I already have questions. Not so much news related, but just questions. A bit confused when to use client object and where to use Ollama object directly when making Python call. I have no idea what you're talking about. Client object? I don't understand where to use Ollama object. I don't know what client object is. Perhaps you can leave an example of what you're trying to do. If you're using the Python Ollama SDK, or not really, that's a library. I don't know about client object. I'm not sure what that means. Fabric prompt tool has changed over to Go. Nice. They finally updated that. That's great. It happened on the 20th of August. I did not know that. I was excited about Fabric when I first saw it. And then as I dug deeper, it's like, not that interesting. As happened to me before, where I was excited about something, I made a video about it, it becomes really big, and then I realized, not that great. That happened with, it was a notes editor. I did a video about notes editor, Emacs, I think. And it was like Rome Emacs or something like that, or Rome. I mean, it was based on the idea of Rome. Rome Research had this editor that was all the cool kids were using it for a little bit. And then kind of regurgitated a bunch of ideas that were in lots of other tools, Trillium being one of them, and there were a bunch of others that were doing everything that Rome was doing. Rome just made it prettier. And then, and so I was using that tool in Emacs. I think it was Emacs. And then I think the day that I published that video, I discovered Obsidian. And that's, I don't know, 4 years ago, and I've been using that ever since. Can we use Ollama with Google CoLab? Absolutely. There's a example notebook in the Ollama repo that shows exactly how to do it. So, hey, from Debjit to Biswas. Angles, I am connecting it to Obsidian Fabric. Well done, an install video. Not may put their only old method. I don't know what that means. Okay, I am install. Oh my God, this phone. Yeah, that's right. Blame it on the phone. You're saying something about some sort of install video. Maybe you are making an install video. You are, sounds like two words, sounds like apocalypse. Apocalypse now. No, that's not what you're saying. Anyway, let's talk about some news. I thought this time I might even list the articles I was going to briefly mention and list them in the description. So, hey, you've got kind of a heads up as to what I'm going to be talking about today. I thought that might be fun, a fun thing to do. Okay. Police officers starting to use AI chatbots to write crime reports. Will they hold up in court? God, I hope not. I mean, this sounds, I can't think, there's so many great uses of AI, and this is definitely not one of them. At least not. I don't see how good things can come out of this. So basically, Axos, I think it is, or Axon, the guys that make a lot of the body-mounted cameras that police are wearing, because it seems like police keep doing really bad things, and they need to get recorded to prove that they really did those bad things. Not all police, but there are some police that have done bad things. And so it's watch or listening to the video or listening to the audio of the what the officer did, and then generating a report based on what it heard. I guess from the beginning of an incident to the end of an incident. This person's quoted as saying it was a better report than I could have ever written. Ooh, are we actually showing that? Yes, we are showing that. And it was 100% accurate. It flowed better. It even documented a fact he didn't remember hearing. Another officer's mention of the color of the car the suspects ran from. But then again, is the report should the report be, uh, shouldn't it kind of be what the officer kind of remembered from the event? Well, okay, maybe not, but this is based on audio that's being picked up by the microphone. Now, I'm using a platform for this streaming. I'm using a platform called Riverside, and Riverside does it does a transcription. It generates a transcription, and you can edit the video based on that transcription. And I can't tell you how many times Riverside has thought I was talking about Obama, the former president of the United States, or when actually talking about Ollama. So you can easily, there's all sorts of things that I say, and it hears it, and it turns it into a word that's a real word. It's just not what was actually said. And the best tool, Whisper's getting better and better, but I still have to go in and scan through it and correct what it said, because the audio on the microphone was a little bit garbled. As soon as my voice goes down to a certain level, maybe like this, maybe you can't hear me. I don't know. Maybe I think I have to speak somewhat loud, a normal voice. And when I get really low, like I did, sometimes the microphone, I've got a noise gate on there, so it should cut out a lot of that. And when it does, well, the audio transcription doesn't really work, and you can't hear me either. And so the AI just kind of makes up, well, I think he said this. It's not actually true. And then a quote from Axon's founder: they become police officers because they want to do police work. And spending half their day doing police work is just a tedious part of the police work. It's the part they don't like. Every time I've looked at any sort of TV program about police work, data entry, the data entry, the writing reports has always been an important part of the work. It's not like this is, as far as I know, I haven't been through the police academy. I haven't been a police officer. But that's kind of the job. That's the job you're signing up for. Is doing some of the that data entry, that writing those reports. It's saying that I like this job. I just don't want to do the boring bits. I just want to go out and I want to go out with I'm going to go outside. Yeah, everybody likes to go outside. So I thought this was, they never want to get an officer on the stand who says, well, the AI wrote that, I didn't. So it's an interesting article from Associated Press about this new technology that Axon is trying to get into. And some places are saying, okay, well, for now, in Oklahoma City, it's only used for minor incident reports that don't lead to someone get arrested. No arrests, no felonies, no violent crimes. But not in Lafayette, Indiana. It's it's incredibly popular. But it's not so good in Fort Collins, Colorado, where they go to the bar district and there's just all this extra noise on the recording, and the AI can't handle it. But anyway, turning down the creativity dial helps the model stick to facts so that it doesn't embellish or hallucinate in the same ways that you would find if you're just using ChatGPT on your own. It still kind of generates garbage. So anyway, what do we have in comments? Make a Go video. Okay, let me see. Let me interpret. You are wanting to, you're asking me to make a video about using Ollama with Golang. Did I get it? Did I get that right? I think that would be good. I think it would be good to, I've often wanted to cover other, because the actual language that gets used for any of these demonstrations in the video doesn't, any developer that, any, beyond the newest developer. I mean, sure, there's the brand new developer. Maybe they learn a language and they know that language. But generally, most developers I've ever met who are actually getting paid as a developer, can look at a language that they've never seen before and look, oh, okay, I get what's going on there, and I know how to write that in Python or TypeScript or JavaScript or Rust or whatever. So it doesn't really matter the language that's being used. Yeah, there are definitely some things that different languages do better or differently in other languages. And make a video installing Fabric with Go. Got it. Okay. You turned off your autocorrect on your phone. Perfect. Yeah, so it should just be the same. But you are asking specifically about installing Fabric using whatever their new process is using Golang. Cool. Awesome. I look forward to seeing that because the old process, the fact that it was built in building any sort of end user tool, a UI tool or something, if it's built in Python, it's guaranteed to be a sucky install process. There's no way around it. And so I'm very excited that they've migrated, upgraded, whatever you want to call it, to using Golang. Should make things so much easier. It's so basically you're saying, I want you to make a video that's 30 seconds long to show how easy it is. Maybe. Okay, let's see what else we got. Then add the YouTube's part. Okay, the YT command. Cool. Okay, that sounds like an interesting idea. It could definitely check the reports for grammar and punctuation. Sure. So could tools like Grammarly or what is it? The tool that I use, Language Tool. I switched to Language Tool at one point because where I was working said, "You use Grammarly, you're fired," because they had all sorts of security issues. But let's see. Using AI to write reports is wild. Yeah, I guess it can. I guess it's better summarize the text and formulate it. Yeah, I absolutely agree that using these tools to help you write, get that first version and maybe help make it read better. But we're not. I mean, I'm sure whoever is reading these reports isn't reading it for as a replacement for a novel. I mean, they understand it's from the actual officers, and so it's not going to be beautiful English. But it's similar for a petal tool instead of petal tool. Maybe House should get AI to write his medical notes. Yeah, because then everything will be lupus. I mean, everything is already lupus. Make a video and okay, yeah, okay. So sorry, it's so easy. Then add the YT. Yep, it will get hits. It will get hits. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Wrong window. AI is advancing fast. Get this window back to the chat. How would we even know if AI went rogue? So, interesting article from Vox. I often love the stuff from Vox, especially their videos. And it's interesting how many interesting YouTubers have come out of having worked for Vox before. But this is just talking about, what can we do to, there's lots of interest in creating regulations around artificial intelligence and ensuring that we don't have a Terminator situation or Battlestar Galactica or whatever other Hollywood fantasy, whichever one's your favorite. But how can we verify? And a lot of these things, they seem to think, well, the machines will be out to get us, which is a little bit insane. But it probably does make sense to create this kind of early warning system for AI capability improvements. Yeah, that makes sense. And having tools in place to how do we know if anything has changed? Is this going to be like the what's it? You boil a frog in water, it doesn't know. You throw it in the boiling water, it's going to know, hey, this is deadly hot. If you just kind of raise the temperature up, maybe they don't know, and maybe we won't know. So anyway, interesting stuff there. Let's move on to this. I thought was amazing. Almost half of FDA-approved AI-related medical devices are not trained on real patient data. Specifically, okay, so number of medical AI device authorizations by FDA per year has increased from 2 to 69 per year. So over the last 7-8 years. But of the 521 device authorizations, there's this idea of retrospectively validated, prospectively validated, and then randomized control trials. And the randomized control trials are the good ones that are actually, let's hook it up to humans and see how it does. The retrospective involves feeding the AI model image data from the past, such as patient x-rays prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so 43% of the 226 of 521 lacked any published clinical validation data. So it was using images, recorded data, all this other stuff, and these are all now FDA approved for use in hospitals and maybe home use. So that was fascinating, and it reminded me, there was an article I saw pretty recently about a doctor in the Netherlands who did a lot of the initial research into beta blockers with regards to heart surgeries that deal with heart stuff, whether it's a transplant or bypass or all the things that involve cracking open that chest and going in there and tweaking stuff. And the recommendation for a long time, because this doctor did his research and published the research, and everybody loved him. The EU said, this is our official recommendation. You should take these beta blockers for whatever amount of time before the surgery and after the surgery. And I understand it's like a blood thinner. I think my mother takes it, and taking them is that's not a problem. Taking them before the surgery is what's this particular article was talking about. And apparently, this guy, he didn't use AI, but he just kind of made up the data. A lot of the data, first off, he didn't have access to. He shouldn't have had access to. And then other data, other patients, he just kind of made up to like fill in the blanks. And so that's no longer the recommendation. But it was found that of all the people that went through that process, just statistically over time, it looked like 30% more, I think that was the number, 30% more people were dying, probably, causation versus correlation, well, but probably because of their taking beta blockers to, before the surgery, and that led to a lot of deaths. Fascinating. This is going, I'm not saying that these folks are trying to, that sounded like just malicious, just bad. This doesn't sound like, it sounds like people are trying to do the right thing. They might not be able to set up those clinical trials, and they're trying to do the right thing. They think this is the next best thing, and they're probably, again, trying to do the right thing, but maybe it's not so great. This article doesn't say anything that anything has not worked because of it, but just kind of pointing out, hey, you might be, I don't know, maybe this is bad. Let's see. Still online. Perfect. I had to check that. No comments. Thought, oh my God, there's no comments. Maybe I am talking to the ether. Okay, this one I added because it's always nice to get a reminder that, that the mainframe still exists. I don't know. I know nothing about. I know almost nothing about this world, about the world of mainframes. I know they're expensive. I know they've existed for. I mean, and support could go on for decades. When I used to work. So anyway, this is talking about a new chip, a new accelerated chip. Your voice is so relaxing. Well, now, here we are, listening to the cool beats of the IBM Spyre Accelerator. Oh, yeah. Is that what you like? So there's this new chip. It's the size, I think it's the size of a PCI card, a PCIe card that can be clustered together. And so a cluster of 8 cards adds an additional 256 accelerator cores to the IBM Z system. Again, this is a world I've never seen. I mean, maybe I've seen them in photos, but I've never actually seen a mainframe, a live mainframe, and it is the amount of throughput these machines have is just spectacular. I can't imagine the just how much stuff goes through these systems. As we have from Joe Burnett, every credit card transaction goes through mainframes. They're using AI on them to detect fraud. And yeah, that's exactly what this article kind of, or this, mostly kind of not a news release, but a post about this new chip. And there's all sorts of new ways people are using it, but using it for validating credit cards, looking for fraud, detecting fraud is one use case, but there's been all sorts of other things that are used here. Dave's Garage has a really cool video about them. He bought like an older machine pretty recently, I thought, from, did he get it from, bought it at an auction. His channel is pretty fascinating. It's been a long time at Microsoft. My one connection to mainframes is I used to work for an analyst firm in New York City, and we did reviewers guides and competitive analysis. And one of our customers was IBM, and they asked us to do a white paper on some mainframe. So I was like, we don't know anything. You're going to give us a mainframe? Sure, we can play around with it. And they ended up giving us a P390, P380, a P380, I think it was called, which was, the 380, OS 380. I don't know, some there was whatever the current OS and current hardware platform was for mainframes. They had basically a small version that you could install on in a PCI slot, and the P just meant PCI, and so we installed that, and it was my job to just play around with it and see how it worked and see how fun it was. And I don't remember any. I mean, I remember a lot of things that in that job that were fun. I don't remember anything fun coming out of that role. But that said, fast forward like 20 years. I think I mentioned this on somewhere recently. I was at a playground I think it was Animal Kingdom at Disney World with my daughter. There was like a big sand pit, and you could kind of dig out fossils. And I was there, and my daughter started playing with this other girl, and her grandfather, I think it was grandfather, maybe father, was with her, and we started chatting, and and somehow, we got to the point where, we were talking about different roles, and he worked at IBM forever. And I said, oh, at one point I got this, P3, whatever it was, P380. And he says, really? I, I was the guy who came up with that card. and I built almost every one that went out. I mean, every one of those cards was basically hand built. So I probably built the card you were using. It's like, what? Oh my God, that's so cool. So anyway, that was a long, long way of getting there. Let's see. Was there anything? There was one more thing. This is fascinating. So New York Times. Oh, okay. So when AI's output is a threat to AI itself. So recently, I've seen a number of posts talking about ways to make it easier to fine tune a model. And probably the hardest part about fine tuning is coming up with the source data. You need to come up with usually a question answer pair, or some other data that describes whatever you want to train the model on. And there's a number of tools that are basically use the AI to generate a data set for fine tuning. And then you keep doing that over and over again. You just keep using the AI to make the AI better, but that's not always a good thing. And so this has some really amazing examples. Are they totally applicable? I don't know, but it's really interesting. So as we go down here, we got this example that shows. Oh, did I start sharing? Yeah, I did. Okay. So we have these real handwritten digits. And then we train the AI system on this stuff. And as it starts, several iterations, we see how this changes. And so its output is still recognizable. It still looks good, but gradually the AI is learning what a number looks like. And it gets weirder and weirder and weirder. And as we go along, they all start kind of blurring and getting kind of similar to each other. And to the point where after 30 generations, they converge into a single shape. They all look the same. And we have a few other examples of what this can potentially look like. Either looking at it in text. So here's the initial AI output, and then that is used, and gradually hallucinations start showing up, and it starts printing long lists. And I've definitely seen this in some of the models I've used, like the 535 just seemed to go on and like non-stop, just not ever. Was it 535? No, it was something else. I can't remember what it was, but it just kept going on and on and on, and then eventually it's just useless. This was after four generations of training the AI on itself. And then we have what happens when you use the same image, and weird things start showing up in everybody's faces, and and then it goes into why is this happening. So it may slow things down as existing sources of new fresh data dry up or become contaminated with AI. Slop researchers say it makes it harder for newcomers to compete. Models won't scale anymore as they should be scaling. And this rate of scale that we've seen may slow down because there's just no source data that we can come up with for making the models better. If we can keep coming up with new stuff to train the models on, yeah, that'll keep going up. But maybe it's going to go down, and we just need to come up with a better architecture, which is definitely going to. I mean, so often I've said in the past lots of people will say AGI, at the current rate, AGI is, tomorrow or a few weeks away or a few months away. And there are certain, the same people keep saying, oh, AGI is, if I wore my Starfleet uniform, I could say AGI is coming out next week. Or there was that guy who kept posting strawberry stuff, what ended up being, well, first off, the model they were talking about was something from Twitter, and even then, it's not that great. And yeah, so I think AGI, we're going to hit bottlenecks, speed bumps along the way. Things are going to change, and then we're going to have a massive acceleration and a speed bump, and then massive acceleration and a speed bump. There's not just one road to get there. There's going to be all sorts of speed bumps. And at the current rate, it seems likely that AGI is closer than it ever was, but it's still decades away. So here's another example of, different faces, AI faces, and gradually they start training the model over and over again, and we see the faces start to, okay, looks kind of normal after 2 generations. After 3 generations, well, faces are kind of starting to look kind of similar. More and more, you will see that person looks kind of like that person, and some of the same. Wait, is that the same person? Are these 3 the same person and this person? And oh my goodness. So anyway, fascinating article. Now this can be made better by just requiring humans to curate the synthetic data, but that gets expensive. And this was the creating the AI generated content was the solution for this expense. But it looks like you still need to spend the money on curating the data. For now, there's no replacement for the real thing. So anyway, fascinating article from New York Times. And I think that might be all I had for today. So let me go back over here and stop sharing and take a look at some comments. It will get hits. Okay, we are here. Your voice is relaxing. Oh yeah, my NPR voice. Okay, we talked about that. Dave's Garage, eBay. So he bought on eBay. Nice. I saw part of the video where they were just bringing it into the house or into his garage, and all I thought was, getting it off that pallet and trying for some reason he has a crane to lift engines or something, but pulling that crate out, I have nightmares of fingers and toes under things like that. Okay. Ollama 3.1. How do I know if AI has gone rogue? Well, we don't have any concrete evidence. I don't know where we're going there. Isn't like video degradation. If you have a video and then save it somewhere else, then second copy of it, by the time it's been saved and forwarded, it degrades, it gets compressed. Yeah. If we're doing compressed video or a copy of a compressed copy of a compressed copy of a compressed copy, and it gets worse and worse and worse. Yeah, that was insane. About pulling the thing off. Those things are massive. I remember I used to go to when I was based in Silicon Valley the first time around, and I was based in the company I was working for was the company where we got the P3 whatever 380 360, and so I was working out of Mountain View, and right next to this amazing brew pub called the Tide House, which I understand is not there anymore. I don't know. I spent so much time at the Tide House, at the bar at the Tide House. I'd sit there with my Palm Pilot connected up to my Ricochet modem, which allowed for basically wireless access to news feeds on my Palm Pilot from wherever I was, only within Silicon Valley area, because I think they had antennas on phone towers or electric towers, like poles all around the area. And you could, based on that, I seem to remember either somebody had created kind of a GPS-like system based on these where all these things were from this Ricochet network. Yeah, that was amazing. Amazing time. Long before Wi-Fi, I think. Long before, I seem to remember we had to be connected. We had to be on a wired connection. I mean, there was just no way around that. And definitely in any sort of, it was long before I could tether on my phone. Talking about the images of faces, yeah. Cause news is weekly report better. I don't really know what you're saying. Oh, there was that comment I didn't really understand. Cloud Academy. Did we figure that one out? What you were asking for? A bit confused when to use client object versus Ollama object. Was there any clarification on that? And I have no idea what cause news is weekly report better. I don't know what that means. I think you're asking for a weekly news report on AI related stuff. I mean, what's interesting here is just, I think some of I was worried that I needed to do a weekly thing, but I don't. I mean, because so much new stuff that is coming out every day that is relevant and interesting. So far, I think doing it daily is awesome. And y'all keep showing up. It's like win, 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 win. A bunch of wins there. Any other questions? Anybody got anything? I should remind you that, what should I remind you about? I got a newsletter. As anybody who have signed up for the newsletter, you know that you haven't gotten anything. you got one newsletter post the day after I set it up. So like 200 people got it, 300 people got it. Because I got a whole bunch of people that signed up right away. And then there hasn't been anything since then. But there will be. I promise soon I'm going to get to that. So there's that newsletter thing. So I think there's now about 1,300 people have signed up to that, which is amazing. There is a Patreon, patreon.com/technoevangelist, and as well as a membership here on YouTube. So that's there. So you can sign up. There's different, maybe I should make them the same pay levels on both places, but there's one of them that's like really dirt cheap on both platforms. So those three places. What else is there? Oh, there's a Discord. So there's Discord for Ollama. If you just have an Ollama specific question and you just need an answer, best place to go is discord.gg/Ollama. But I've also got a Discord because there were a bunch of people that said, you got to set up your own. So I set up my own. Not a lot of activity on there because the Ollama one's so good. But there's a URL for that. I have no idea. I mean, it's a random text URL because to get the like discord.gg/Ollama means that you are paying $200 a month to Discord to get that. I mean, you get a bunch of benefits, but one of them is that nice URL. 150. Anyway, it's like 150 is like $149 more than I want to spend. Okay, I want to start my own channel about coding. I assume that means you are going to go out fishing for cod and fillet it and bread it. Coding maybe. I think a channel about coding could be pretty cool. I don't know what coding. Isn't there like in medieval times the cod piece is the down there anyway. This is for children. But let's see. Any tips you can give to avoid pitfalls? There is when you've done this enough, you are admitted to the club of streamers, and first rule of Stream Club is don't talk about Stream Club. No, I don't actually have anything. I think you have to go through the pitfalls. I mean, you can hear people give you advice. I mean, and there's definitely great places for advice on doing this type of stuff. Like Pat Flynn, I think, does like here's how to stream. There's who else? There was another one I was just thinking about. I can't remember anybody's name. There's a few folks out there that do things about here's how to do streaming. I think all their advice is great, but I mean, I think you just have to like stumble through it and make a whole lot of mistakes. Like when I finally said, okay, now I'm gonna do this stream thing every day. It's gonna be amazing, and I do this and it was like I had a all laid out, a plan of what to talk about. And I start doing my thing. I start the stream, and it's amazing. And I'm like, man, this is just everybody's quiet. What's going on here? I mean, And I actually see that there are 10 people, 15 people, 20 people online, apparently, like at my channel. This is amazing. This is like first time, and I already have this many people. This is incredible. And I go on for a full hour. By the end of it, I'm exhausted because it's a new kind of thing for me. I'm drinking lots of water, but I'm just tired. I need to sit down. And I'm thinking, strange that nobody commented. Let me look at these at the channel information in YouTube, and then I look at the details for where that number was, and it said waiting. And then I see at the top right there's a button that says start streaming, when I was looking for the button that says like end the stream. So I had announced that I was going to be doing this thing, and a whole bunch of people were there waiting for me to start, and I never clicked the button that said start streaming. So you're going to do stupid things like that. You're going to have really bad audio or bad video. I mean, sometimes my video just might, I still haven't figured it out. It's better than it was, but it still kind of sucks. I think you kind of had to make those mistakes as you go along. And I don't think there's any way to believe that the things that you need to do, you really need to do. Oh, I gotta go take my dog to the vet to get trimmed. Not trimmed, a haircut. Nothing worse. Okay, I gotta go. I got 10 minutes together. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching. Gotta go. Yeah, sink or swim, totally. Sink and drown. And then event. Oh my God, I did not do that. That's not what I meant. Anyway, with those fireworks, I don't even know how to recreate it. Maybe do this. There we go. Okay, well, thanks so much for being here. I gotta go take that dog. Yep, I know. I gotta take the dog. There's my wife reminding me. Bye.